The Yankees are so bad, they made Stacy physically ill. So Brian McKeon, I'll be with you guys all night on this edition of Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? I'm Brian McKeon, and welcome to Locked On Yankees. Have we hit rock bottom? I believe so. We have a fundamental issue with the way this organization is run. We'll be getting to that, plus game one of the series against the Detroit Tigers, and we'll have another Aaron Boone discussion. I don't know if it's necessarily worthy of having with the way that he continues to manage, and there's not going to be a change that's going to happen, but we have to discuss because that's the way this team is run. Stacey's going to be out for the night, so I'll be with you guys tonight, and what a brutal game. You start game one of the series against Detroit, and, me and Stacey actually discussed with you guys on Monday's episode that we didn't see the postgame of Aaron Boone. We didn't want to watch it. And you had kind of a weird, immature kind of postgame from Aaron Boone where he talks about how we got to get going, baby. I mean, he's using this weird vocabulary he never really uses, and he's trying to amp up the team, and he's hoping the players see it and stuff. And it just goes to show how a team doesn't respond by the way that they responded in this game. You get completely bludgeoned. You weren't even competitive from the start of this game. No one hit. They're discombobulated out on the field. Guys are running into each other. Guys are running into the wall. Guys are calling for balls, and they're still running into each other. Awful game, awfully played. There is no way you could possibly feel good about this 7-3 defeat to Detroit. Now, remember, they take 2 out of 3 from Detroit a week ago, and you feel kind of decent after that series. The way it started off was not great. Then you take 2 out of 3. You felt better by beating Skubal. And then you go and play Boston, where you think going into Fenway Park, where Boston's this terrible home team with only 12 wins on the season when you come in, that you should be able to handle Boston and come back home with a pretty decent feeling about yourself. Well, then they come home and play Detroit, who, by the way, also has only 12 wins on the year, but on the road. And you lose 7-3. And really, if we want to call it 7-3, that's being, generous. That's what the final scorecard reads, but it's Rosario hitting a 3-run homer in garbage time in this game when it's over, pretty much. This game wasn't competitive from the start. They got mowed down by Casey Mize, who we said had been good all year, but this is beyond that. 7 innings of 1 hit ball, no earned, no walks, 10 strikeouts. And we talked about how Casey Mize, he'll let you on base. He's just not going to be able to, he's not going to give up a lot of runs. And they're not going to give you run support. That's been the mantra with Casey Mize all year, right? 2-5 on the year, bad record. He'll put runners on base, but he's not going to let you score. Did none of that against the Yankees. They were lifeless on offense. They had nothing going this entire game. 1 hit. 1 hit. You get 2 off relievers, which means nothing. And from the start of this game, they were out of it. From the complete start of this game, Ryan Weathers goes an inning and 2/3. By far his worst start as a Yankee. And we'll have a discussion later on in the week if the bullpen's in his future. It seems like it is, and we made the case a few weeks ago that it should be in his future just because of the way this stuff plays. But an inning and 2/3, he gives you 7 hits of 2 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. In the second inning of this game, he's got 55 pitches. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster at that point. Not to mention you run through, what is this? 7 relievers in the game? 7 relievers in this game were used. It's unacceptable. And I understand the manager wants to come out with the media and wants to make a statement and have this weird kind of press conference where guys are going to notice and maybe take, accountability and start playing. I mean, what did that do? This is what it shows for? The team comes out and plays worse than it's played all year and continues the Boston series right where you left off. You feel like you can get home and maybe it creates a new spark and there's something different in the air. And Aaron Boone has this weird press conference where everyone notices and all right, fresh start at home. I mean, it's right where they let off against Sonny Gray. It's now 5 losses in a row. It's getting swept by the Red Sox. It's now losing this game awfully to Detroit. And it's the way you look awful. It's your starter going an inning and 2/3, not getting out of the second inning. It's Domínguez and Jazz running into each other. It's Cody Bellinger dropping a pop fly. I mean, these are all guys who don't deserve a lot of blame. But all this stuff, what it shows is a lack of focus. It shows what this team has looked like over the last week. It shows that they have gotten complacent with the way that things are. 5-game losing streak, 4-game losing streak, whatever. It's going to happen, right? This is baseball. Still one of the best records in the American League. That's fine, right? That's what this organization is showing you, like that this stuff is okay. And it's not. We're going to talk about more of that in segment 2, just because the way that this team carries itself and the way that its leadership allows it to carry itself is a major, major, major problem. But you lose this game 7-3. You look lifeless from the start. Your starter gives you no length. You continue. You don't allow going home and starting a new series at home to be a jumping off point to get better. It feels like at the end of this 16 games in 16 days stretch, the Yankees have just gotten extremely complacent and found themselves in a position where let's just get through this 16-game stretch. The problem is you continue to lose games by doing that. And you can't have this period of playing hot baseball followed by playing baseball like this. I mean, this is horrendous. Spencer Jones has 2 hits on the day. The Yankees have 3 as a team. Think about how bad that is. The first 5 batters in this lineup didn't have a hit. Heck, the first 3 went 0 for 4. Domínguez looked lost in the outfield at points. Jones goes 2 for 3. Rosario pinch hits for Wells, who is, I know the manager can keep defending him, but dear God, is he lost. Rosario hits the 3-run homer. Pinch hitting. That's it. Those are all the hits the Yankees have in the entire game. I know a lot of you come here because you want to hear me find a positive. You want to hear me, give you the, oh, it's late June and they'll be fine take. This is every year. This is a constant reminder that this team, that this organization, that the leadership behind the players don't take this stuff seriously. And they've all become complacent that 5-game losing streaks are for some reason normal. Figure it out. You've created a culture where losing's okay. You've created a culture where these things are acceptable. You created a culture where putting a 4-game sweep in Boston, and let's try and separate for a second it being the Boston Red Sox and kind of just recognize that Boston has 12 wins at Fenway Park all year and has been a terrible baseball team this entire year. In last place in the American League East. If we separate those things, you lost 4 games in a row to an awful baseball team. That's what happened. This team's not playing good baseball. And I get it. You're without Giancarlo Stanton. You're without Max Fried. You're trying to get healthier. I hear you. But this is losing 2 out of 3 to Cincinnati. The last 2 games of that series. This is beating Detroit in 2 out of 3, but that first game of that series is looking terrible. And now it's losing 5 in a row. And there's no urgency. And you return home with a chance for a fresh start against a bad baseball team, the worst team in the league on the road. And you're non-competitive. And you're non-competitive from the start. You had no chance. I know it's not your ace on the mound. I know you're without Aaron Judge. I know you're without Giancarlo Stanton. The organization also knows that. The rest of the league knows that. You know what else knows that? The 4-game winning streak prior against the Blue Jays and the White Sox. You know what else knows that? The 4-game winning streak prior to that against the Guardians and Red Sox. Those guys weren't available in those games either. You didn't have Max Fried in those series. You didn't have Aaron Judge. You didn't have Giancarlo Stanton. And some reason it was okay then. We've talked about it before. We're going to talk about it a lot more. I'm sure this isn't the last time that me, Stacey Gotsulias, anyone covering the Yankees is going to have this discussion. This organization gets complacent. Gets complacent with losing. Gets comfortable with losing. And that stuff translates to October. It may not feel like it. We know baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. But this is a string of bad baseball, and you start to lock in really, really awful habits. 7-3 loss to Detroit. Their 13th win on the road the entire year. We're almost in July. I want to sit here and paint you guys a good picture. Just not really sure quite how. We're going to discuss why the comments that were made by the manager really, really ticked me off. And why this organization, they're going on a bad slope. I know it's 5 in a row, but this could get a lot worse. What's up, guys? The biggest stage in soccer is here. Every match feels like it has the potential to create a memorable moment. One goal, it can completely change the energy of a game. It can shift the momentum. It can alter the outcome in a complete instant. And that's what makes tournament soccer so exciting, from the opening whistle to the final kick. There's nothing better. Did you watch that Germany game? Germany's out of the tournament to Paraguay in a crazy penalty kick final. When Germany misses a PK late in the game, none of this makes sense sometimes. And that's what makes the World Cup so exciting. And now FanDuel is giving fans another reason to stay locked into every match with every goal pays. Bet on a match and you get bonus bets for every single goal scored during that match. More goals means more bonus bets. All you have to do is turn on your token. We've all seen those matches where it's scoreless for what feels like forever, then one goal flips the game on its head. Suddenly everyone's pressing, the crowd comes alive, and final 20 minutes can feel like must-watch television. Now you get to benefit when each goal is scored. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Get your daily New York Yankees coverage completely ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club today. You can start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without all the interruptions. Click the link in the show notes or head over to lockedonyankees.supercast.com to claim your free trial. Stacey's out tonight taking a personal day, and she needs it with the way this team is playing. I don't know how anyone doesn't need it with the way this team is playing. It's embarrassing. And, you know, we've gotten used to this, and it's become a common theme on this show and anywhere you follow Yankee news and all that kind of stuff. The June swoon. And I think it's a problem with how comfortable we've become with that term and how used to it we've become with it. We've been waiting the entire season for the Yankees June swoon to begin. Think about how bad that is. And yeah, they spent most of the month of June avoiding it. But we're here now, baby. To quote Aaron Boone using the word baby in his press conference the other day. You know, I found that annoying. Me and Stacey were wondering how he was going to approach it, because normally, with the players manager that Aaron Boone is, he approaches these kind of situations where they're playing poorly of, we're going to be fine. This team's more talented than that. Classic jargon that really does nothing for anybody, but makes him feel like he's supporting the players, makes the players feel supported, and it hurts nobody's feelings, and it keeps everybody's ego in check. Now, I've personally on this show never been a fan of that. I know you guys aren't really a fan of it either. But he took a different approach the other day after the Red Sox loss, where he sat there and said, this is baseball, baby, and you know, things are going to happen. You just got to, you know, buckle down and go for it. This is going to happen. And he had a jovial mood to himself, which was odd. And then they come out against Detroit and look as lifeless as humanly possible. The game's over before it starts. You're down 7-0. Your starter goes in an inning and 2/3. The first 4 guys in your lineup don't have a hit. They look awful. They can't field. Jazz hears Domínguez calling him off and still runs directly into Domínguez and gets hurt. Bellinger thinks the wall is closer than it actually is, drops the ball, completely uncharacteristic for how he plays, but you get my point. Unfocused, undisciplined. Clearly, whatever message should have been given was not given. And I know there's power in saying things through the media. I'm sure a lot of the players saw those clips on social media and heard those things that Boone was saying. But clearly, the message was not conveyed in the clubhouse. Clearly, the players were not spoken to personally. The message was given over the media, and that was it. And that's where it bothers me. He expresses in the press conference that the players know how to get through this. They know what this is like. That's not okay. That's not normal. That's not how this organization should operate. And sometimes a player's manager is great. There's been players' managers that have won, right? There's been success in every single sport. I get that. But this group does the same thing every single year. This type of play has become normalized in this franchise. Losing 5 in a row. Winning 2 more and then losing 6 in a row. Going on stretches of awful, awful, awful baseball. We've talked about it. There are times when they look like a great team. There are times in the last few years where they look as lifeless as any team in baseball. There are stretches where they play worse than the worst teams in baseball. And the manager has allowed this culture to develop as if this is normal. This is not normal. Normal teams don't do this. Clearly, he spoke to the media and didn't relay the message to the players. That's unacceptable. They shouldn't know what this feels like. This shouldn't be normal to them. And even if it is, Aaron, it's your job every single year to treat it like it's a completely different thing. And try to motivate this team. Try to push this club. Make them feel like the start of the series against Detroit is a new series and a fresh slate. We're all aware that a 4-game losing streak is not the end of the world. We all get it. But you have to treat it like it is. You have to motivate them like it is. This team, over the last decade, almost decade, that Aaron Boone has been at the helm, runs their season like so. Great start to start the season. Awful slump in the middle where they look lifeless. Get hot in the second half of September and try to ride that into the postseason. Forgetting one thing, though. It ends every year the same way in the postseason. It never ends down the Canyon of Heroes. It hasn't with this manager. And it won't. You can't allow your team to become complacent with this kind of formula. And this is what they followed the last almost decade we're at now with this manager. Why is this normal? Why do we act like this is normal? Why do we act like this is how normal baseball clubs operate? It's not. They carry themselves and speak about themselves every single year, from the GM to the manager to the players to the leaders. They all speak about these losing streaks like it's normal. Credit their hot start every year and the cushion they've built themselves. They carry themselves like a team that thinks the regular season means nothing and it's all about the playoffs, which is a great position to be in sports, which is the way the Los Angeles Dodgers carry themselves. You know what the Dodgers have to show for it? 2 World Series in the last 2 years. 3 under this Dave Roberts tenure. They've earned the right to carry themselves that way. They've earned the right to not take a series in May seriously. They've earned the right to not think it's a big deal when you lose 4 games in a row to your division rival on the road. Because they've won 2 damn World Series in the last 2 years. Because they've won 3 under this manager. The Yankees haven't done that. In Aaron Boone's tenure, they haven't been to as many World Series as the Dodgers have won under Dave Roberts. The Yankees haven't earned the right to carry themselves that way as an organization. You can't ride off the coattails of the 90s. That's over. The Dodgers and their recent success allows themselves to carry themselves the way they've done it. Where if you lose a 4-game series, you can brush it off. Because you know what? It is about October with that organization. Because they win in October. You can't count it as it's only about October with the Yankees. They don't win in that month. They continuously treat these losing streaks in the regular season like it's normal. It's not. They continuously treat elongated losing streaks where they look lifeless like it's normal. It's not. It's on the manager to motivate the ball club. It's on the manager to have them ready to play. He can say whatever he wants to the media and to the public. He can dupe us all he wants. Trust me, managers, coaches, GMs treat the public like we are dumb 24/7. But you know something different is being said inside that locker room. The difference is nothing was said inside this locker room. He said it to the media. He didn't say it to the players. And that's a major problem. Either you said it to the players and you spoke to the players in the locker room and they shut up like that on Monday night, down 7-0 in the blink of an eye, or you didn't speak to the players at all because you don't think it's a big deal. Either one is horrifically wrong, and either one is grounds for termination. They're not going to do that. We're all aware. But it's gotten to the point where it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing every single year that this happens. They need to get themselves on a better streak here, on a better stretch. They got some decent injury news of guys that are working their way back. We'll discuss that and preview game 2 of this series that might not get better. We'll discuss. So at least some positive injury news that came down the docket for the New York Yankees. Max Fried is going to start throwing 2 live hitters. That live hitter will be Giancarlo Stanton. So good news from both parts. Stanton has been on his running program now for a bit. He's been back on the running program after the little hiccup that he had a few weeks ago. It is crazy how Stanton injuries it goes from one little thing to up. There's 3 or 4 more weeks, but it looks like it's on the up with Giancarlo Stanton. He is going to be with a bat in the batter's box against Max Fried later on this week. That's a really good sign. Max Fried playing and pitching at full speed, also a really, really positive sign. So those are really good things to get back into your lineup. They could certainly use Giancarlo Stanton's bat and Max Fried's pitching arm, more so Giancarlo Stanton's bat, interjected in the middle of this lineup. It would be a huge help. No real major update on Aaron Judge. You did see him in the building on Monday. I guess that's a good sign, probably for treatment reasons, but at least he was there. Clark Schmidt also made an appearance in the dugout. Also another good sign is he's working through his rehab. No timetable on how close he is to being back necessarily. It should be sometime in August, maybe early September. That's when they're expecting that. So, decent sign from that perspective that they'll have these guys back at some point. But yeah, let's discuss the game that's going to happen on Tuesday. It's a 7:05 start. Once again, it'll be a TBS and a Prime Video game for those that stream or watch on cable. Yankees, once again, heavily favored in this game. They're minus 143 currently on the money line. Which, have they earned the right to be that much of a favorite? We discussed it last week, actually. Funny that I can mention this because last week we discussed how the Tigers were not a big favorite against the Yankees with Skubal going, and we kind of talked about that's kind of weird. It's fishy. Those are the Yankees going to win this game, and they did actually win that game. Well, now the Yankees are favorites when they shouldn't be against Skubal. I know they have Schlittler on the mound, but still, they're a little bit too hefty of a favorite against a pitcher that's really good. So just take that keep that in mind. Skubal's 3-4 with a 3.32. Yankees are part of the reason that ERA went up, but not part of the reason the WHIP went up. 0.99 WHIP, which is unbelievable for Skubal. Only 59 2/3 innings, 51 hits, but 66 strikeouts on the year. He's been electric. It's going to be a ton of the tough matchup. He's just, so unbelievably great. We've discussed this before. If the Tigers don't explore trading him, I mean, that is franchise malpractice. They have to at least explore the possibility of trading him. It seems like a guarantee that they are not going to be able to re-sign him. With the level of disrespect you showed him just less than a year ago, 8 months ago in the arbitration case. Remember, this wasn't a few $1 million they wanted to pay him less. They wanted to pay him $19 million, and he signed for $31. It was far below what he's earned. So he's definitely annoyed. They don't want to pay him a ton of money, and he's going to be a free agent. If you think that's not in the player's mind, you're out of your mind. So there's going to be an absolute possibility coming up that Skubal is going to be moved, and they have to explore that. He'll go up against Cam Schlittler, 8-4 with a 1.62. He was great again in the last start against Boston. He committed the errors, but still no earned. ERA went down to 1.62. The whip is 0.92. He's got 100 innings pitched on the dot, which I know Stacy loves that stat. 118 strikeouts. He's the leader of the American League Cy Young at this point. That's how good he's been. And while he's pitching like an ace, I don't think anyone in the league really calls him that yet. It's time for him to give you an ace-type moment. He's certainly given you those. Double-digit strikeout game. The playoff game against Boston. You've seen Cy Young-type ace moments out of him. But you know what aces do? You know what Cy Young candidates do? They serve as stoppers. They don't let losing streaks get bigger and bigger and bigger. They give their team a chance to win when they're on an elongated losing streak. And that's what they're on now. It's a 5-game losing streak. 4 against Boston, the first game of the series against Detroit. Be the stopper. Go out there. Dominate. Don't let this Detroit team that is horrendous, I mean that, on the road. Don't let them beat you in another game at Yankee Stadium. This was their 13th win on Monday night on the road. They have 28 losses. We're almost in July. It's incredible how bad they've been on the road this year. Don't let them win this series. Be a stopper. That's going to be Cam Schlittler's job. And then we go to Wednesday's game, which I personally, and I think a lot of us are, very excited about this being a 135 start. And they do have a decent pitching advantage here. Will Warren, who had a really good start last time, 7-3 with a 3.75, a 1.36 ERA. Will Warren coming off the Boston game where he's trying to create some momentum for himself. Remember, in the Cincinnati game prior, he gives you 5 2/3 of 8 hit ball, but holds him to 2 runs. And it was a stretch of really good starts from them. And then you go to the Boston game where he gives up 5 earned and wasn't good enough. Well, now we flip that to this game against Detroit, where it's another really bad offense, another team that struggles to score, and a chance for him to have an improved start. 7-3 with a 3.75, a 1.36 whip on the year. Has to take the hits down. You can't have 85 hits given up in 84 innings pitched. He's going up against Troy Melton, who's 4-1 with a 2.39, a 0.85 whip. It's only in 37 2/3 innings pitched this year, so extremely small sample size. Remember, Yankees didn't see him in the last series. So that's something to keep your eye on, too, when you don't see a pitcher. There's not really an advantage for the Yankee lineup when it comes to that. It's more an advantage for the Tigers pitcher. You got to try and win this series. These are series you need to take 2 out of 3 in. You can't lose these series against a team that you're far better than. The play is unacceptable. The way this organization feels and reacts to bad moments is unacceptable. The way the organization reacts to losing streaks, unacceptable. You haven't earned the right to carry yourself like the Los Angeles Dodgers. The name doesn't do enough. The payroll doesn't do enough. You have to win championships before you can not take the start of the middle of the season seriously. You can't build a pillow at the start of the year and then say, get me to October. You have to play through the season. And you can't let these bad habits of losing and not caring about it seep in. Monday night's loss kind of showed that. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Locked On Yankees. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and follow Locked On Yankees so you get all the latest episodes. Make sure you tune into Locked On Yankees postcast starring Jay Berman after every single game. You can follow us on Instagram at Locked On Yankees and on TikTok at LockedOn_Yankees. You can also find me on Instagram at @_Brian McKeon. Never miss an episode. The Everydayer Club is for you. Ad-free Locked On Yankees members only Discord access and more. Join now at LockedOnYankees.supercast.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can head over to the first ever 24/7 Locked On Podcast Network channel. If you're listening on audio, make Locked On MLB your second listen of the day. So that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I appreciate you guys being here with me.